Alright. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this right now before I move on in this stream. Um, reason why my internet ping is so high today is because I'm using data and my internet has not been working the entirety of day, so I kind of was struggling to even think about it if I wanted to stream or not. But I don't think ping would matter too much at the moment as long my internet's just stable. So yeah. So I think last time we were in Fontaine, we already talked to the fucking Hydra Archon already. Fucking hilarious. And we also got saved by the Hydra Archon by Lenny. Got into a show, and now he's in trouble because someone sabotaged him, which was related to a case of disappearance of a young woman and shit. And now I'm just here. So let's try to complete this part of the story, and then we'll take a break from here of like grinding other stuff, because my resin is full and I don't know how to get out of here. So yeah.
Fireworks are for now, but friends are forever.
Amazing view. Just, you know.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Lenny is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting in Discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Lenny. Why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
that's it, we might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
That was unexpected. What the fuck?
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, The homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh? Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean. Time for a light show.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. What Linney experienced, and what he saw. Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal. Seems this won't produce a... Seems this won't produce... Seems... According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Seems... Seems...
What the heck?
Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth. Seems... Linny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent! Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him!
And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought? Paimon thinks there's something off here. That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played.
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrance. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some... The deceased's name is Cow. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. It would have been tough for both... Linny was not in the tunnel at that... The sound we heard may have come from... Halsey's clothing was at... It would have been tough for both people... No one entered or left... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the... Halsey's clothing was... The sound we heard may have come... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been... The deceased's name is The deceased's name... Linny was not in the tunnel. No one entered or... The sound we heard may have... It would have been tough for... Halsey's clothing was in... It would have been tough for both... No one entered or left... No one entered or... The deceased's name is... Halsey's clothing was...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Oh, just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Linny already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty.
Oh.
The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick. The deceased's name is... The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Now it seems like the hook... The water from the primordial... I remember there was... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. The deceased's name is...
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But... tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be.
Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
Shoot.
Oh no. Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's any way around this. Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now?
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view,
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny, if you would be so kind.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But, as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
And voila!
Huh?
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this—
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lily-Ann's perspective.
Oops.
Seems...
Why? Alinia's perspective.
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily-Ann's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed during the struggle between Lily-Ann and Cowell. Lily-Ann was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lily-Ann panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lily-Ann had not dissolved. He did not know that Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lily-Ann back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lily-Ann came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the opera house these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box, and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dare to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which, when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
Oh.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
Jeez.
So, we're just going back now? That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Lenny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
Bye, Linny!
Twisted great magic.
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too? Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah. I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Well, sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal? Well, guess you really did treat us as partners, huh?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory.
That way there are no regrets later. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navi is treating, count Paimon in!
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
All right then, let's have our farewell meal!
Alright, so this part of the trial is done. Oh, got all my commissions, cool. Let's try this.
No, my sword!
Bubba, get them!
Barbados, guide us! Rain cutter!
We're way behind schedule.
You are not welcome here. Solidify!
Everyone hold hands!
Teamwork is dreamwork!
Is that all you've got?
Gather!
I'm getting sick of this
Testing your patience.
Stabilize!
Let's end this now!
Born of ice and frost.
Regret.
We'll meet again.
We're way behind schedule.
You are not welcome here. Solidify!
I see everything!
Blaze over.
I'm going in!
Born of ice and frost.
I'm
I'm getting sick of this.
We'll meet again.
You are not welcome here.
Stabilize.
Everyone hold hands.
Now you're testing my patience. Gotcha.
I'm getting sick. It is seed born of ice and frost.
Gather. We'll meet again.
Let's light it up. Access denied.
I'm just using it for domains, damn. Chill out.
Next on the agenda.
You are not well stabilized.
Everybody stand back. Make yourselves at home.
We're way behind schedule.
Now you're testing.
I can fix this. Born of ice and frost.
Solidify. Pulverize. How?
We're way behind schedule.
I don't have anything else to use right now. Calm yourself.
Healthy. Very healthy.
Gazu is in bed? What? What? So confused.
Rain outlines your fate. Know my sword.
Nice and spicy. Uplifted retreat. Fire hazard.
I'm feeling alright. I was progressing to the story. The usual. The two polls got nothing.
Add Astra. Thank you for Add Astra.
Oh, okay. That's how you do it. Oh, come on. Oh my god. Every fucking time. Fine. What do you mean, why did I claim the rewards? I pulled at, Ayaka. I just pulled out the Ayaka. I'm confused.
Ayaka, Yoimiya, you're already here!
Good morning. Xavier said yesterday afternoon went well.
Yeah, and how about you, Ayaka? What were you up to yesterday?
After we split up, Ayato went to see Udex Nervillette at the Palais Mermonia. I was originally thinking of going with him, but he said he could manage it himself. He told me to go see the sights around Fontaine and to enjoy the local culture. So I rode the aqua bus with Yoimiya and visited the opera house on Aranias Island.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe what we saw there! Right? Yeah, those two! Amazing, aren't they?
We sat and watched for quite a while. It was mesmerizing. Like we could keep watching them forever.
Oh, it was the same for us the first time we saw them, too!
Afterwards, we went swimming at the beach! Well, diving, to be exact. It was the first time I ever breathed underwater! I held Ayaka's hand and we counted down together. 3, 2, 1, and then splash! We were beneath the waves.
Boy.
At first, I didn't dare to open my mouth. But once I couldn't hold my breath any longer, I decided to take a big breath in. Turns out the water wasn't as salty as I imagined. It didn't really taste like anything at all. Before I knew it, I was breathing like normal down there. It was an amazing feeling. Ayaka said I was too nervous and needed to loosen my grip. She got used to everything way faster than I did.
I knew that the Traveler could do it, so I had no doubt we could do it too. That helped me feel at ease as soon as we dove in. The underwater world in Fontaine truly is beautiful. I love seeing the Romaritime flowers blossoming underwater, like little candles lighting up the streets at night.
Yeah, and there were so many creatures that we've never seen in Inazuma. Like those fish that shimmer like a sword blade. Whoosh! Oh, and those big fish that call when they see people.
Ooh. Oh, you mean Hunter's Rays and Blubber Beasts.
I just love the name Blubber Beast. Just wait till Pops and the others hear about this. They probably won't believe a word I say.
Yoimiya was down there for quite a while. It was dark before we finally rode the aqua bus back to the city. I figured she'd want to sleep in today.
Yeah, even I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get up. I still felt like I was drifting in the waves when I went to sleep last night. But as soon as I woke up today, I remembered that we'd all be shooting a film together, and I was ready to go.
Speaking of the film, where's everybody else?
My brother and Xavier were speaking to the restaurant owner about using the place as a filming location. They should be here soon. As for the others, we're here.
Please excuse my tardiness. I just finished the Special Patrol's 6-mile morning jog.
Wait, 6 miles?
What?
I'm so tired. I heard you all chatting, so I decided to come down. I sure could use some of that endless energy everyone else has.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Can someone fetch me a cup of coffee? More milk, hold the sugar.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that for you.
What the fuck?
No, you can't go anywhere. Please, have a seat over here so I can get started on your makeup. The last thing I want is coffee stains on my costumes.
I can get the coffee. It's the perfect job for an assistant.
So much energy. Seriously, what's her secret?
Yoimiya's always like that. But you sure look exhausted, Farina. It's because you're not used to waking up so early, huh?
Of course not. I spent the whole night reading the novel from cover to cover, marking sections that either need to be omitted or adapted.
Wow. Paimon didn't expect you to be so thorough.
Well, I was the biggest star in all of Fontaine after all. It takes more than just a pretty face to earn a reputation like that. I know how to get serious when the situation calls for it. I went all out when I was acting as an Archon, so why wouldn't I do the same for my own life?
Here's your coffee, Director Farina.
Oh, thank you. The sound of being called director and the aroma of coffee feels almost as refreshing as hearing the birds chirping in the morning.
Oh, it seems everyone has managed to arrive on time.
The fact that Farina is fucking based on nobility is even kind of hilarious at times. Like, why you gotta treat Yoimiya like that? Come on. Like, shit. Like, it's not treating her in a bad way, but it's just expecting everything to be done by others instead of just doing it herself. But I guess it's just nobility.
We've reached an agreement with the restaurant owner. We are free to use the second floor to shoot our film.
Really? That's great!
He is really looking forward to our film, and hopes that providing his restaurant as a filming location best to you.
Okay, thanks. First, I'd like to introduce our new members. This is our prop manager, Veronique. She'll be in charge of all the film's props and items. And this is Bono, our lighting technician. He'll be in charge of lighting and illumination to set up each scene's atmosphere.
Wow. Sure feels like we have some real professionals joining the crew now.
First of all, please allow me to first express my sincerest gratitude to everyone in the crew. When my investor informed me yesterday that he wouldn't be able to provide the funds, I really thought that this was the nail in the coffin for this film. I had no idea that I'd find so many people willing to help me on such short notice. Thank you. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
No need to be so cordial, Mr. Xavier. We're all honored to be a part of this.
Your works made a profound impression on me when I saw them back in Inazuma. I am sure that someday, this film will be remembered as a prime example of cultural exchange between Fontaine and Inazuma.
Yes, the story is the reason I agreed to join. I can't bear to even imagine what this film would look like without the very best director.
Anyway, I would like to make a promise to everyone that as the producer of this film, I'll do whatever I can to ensure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. This is not just my film. It also embodies the thoughts and feelings of every person here, as well as the endless effort we are about to pour into it.
Oh, by the way, James, how you been? Honestly, is everything good on your side? How was your Yakuza stream? I did watch a little bit while I was streaming myself. Did you finish the game?
So, without further ado, the Two Musketeers will officially begin filming now! You may take it from here, Director Farina.
All right, listen up, everyone. The first scene takes place when the two young musketeers are living at the Baron's home, still unaware of all that is about to happen to them. We'll need props and lighting to set the scene. Our lead actors can go get their makeup done, and extras, please take this time to go over your positions.
Whoa. Seems Farina's really kicking things into gear as the director.
Is everyone clear? I don't want anyone traipsing around the set like umbrella finches. All right, cameras will start rolling as soon as the set is ready. Let's make a film that'll make some serious waves in Fontaine. Not the kind of waves that drown people. I mean, the good kind of waves.
Seems like she's still a bit traumatized by that. Anyway, let's go see if there's anything we can do to help.
Can I still? No. I really have to do this shit.
How about here?
A little more to the left.
You got it.
Hey, Mia, do you need a hand?
Ow.
No, I'm fine. You know, doing the lighting is kind of like designing a fireworks show. It's interesting to imagine what kind of atmosphere the lights will create. I heard that the Traveler will be operating the camera and Paimon will be the clapper loader, right? Those roles are just perfect for the two of you.
Really? Is that because it'll be easy for Paimon to hold the clapperboard while flying?
Well, sure, there's that, but that's not exactly what I meant. I just think that after all your journeys together, you two must have developed a super close bond and just naturally know how to work with each other. If I'm not mistaken, the director will want the cameras rolling as soon as the clapperboard goes clack. Oh, I see. It's amazing to see the magic behind filmmaking.
Yumiya, we need lights over there too.
Oh, on it! I've got to get back to work. Chat with you later. Oh, it's exciting to see so many people working together to bring the film to life.
Seems like Yumiya's really getting into it. But she was right. We do have a super close bond, don't we? Paimon's really happy to hear that.
Ayaka has mentioned you to me before. She said that you two were great friends when you were kids.
No talking. I'm thinking about how to do your eyeshadow.
Ah, yes. To help me really look the part.
To achieve a more young and naive look for this scene.
Are you saying the wrinkles around my eyes are too deep?
You just have too much of a calculating look in your eyes.
You sure don't mince your words. It seems you really haven't changed much.
Quiet.
Why you gotta do it like that? Come on.
So, this is a real musket?
No, it's just a prop weapon. Not bad. Have you seen a real musket before?
Only in books and newspapers. I made this one based on the relative shape and proportions I saw in reference images. When we're filming, some special gunpowder will be applied around the muzzle, which will help create the flash and smoke effects of a real gun being fired.
Which means it'll be up to the actors to portray the recoil.
That's right. The sound effects for gunshots will also be added in post-production.
Thank you, Veronique. I think I know where to start now. However, the musket's gears and firing pin could still use some work. Adding some wear on the metallic components will make them appear more realistic. Also, be sure to rub the muskets with some oil each time before we start shooting. That'll give the impression that the firearms have been well maintained.
Good point.
You seem to know a lot, Miss Chevres. I assume you use these types of firearms on a regular basis?
Yes, I perform routine maintenance on my weapons every day. Just like we as people need to eat and sleep, muskets need to be cleaned and maintained.
I also perform similar care for my sword every day, and familiarize myself with its shape and weight.
To the point where it feels like a natural extension of my body.
Yes. This way, our weapons will never betray us in the heat of battle.
Yes, well said. It seems we have the same philosophy on this topic.
Oh, sounds like they found a common interest to talk about.
Though these props differ from the muskets I use, I can still give you some pointers.
Good. I look forward to your instruction.
First and foremost, never point the weapon at anyone, regardless of whether it's a real or prop weapon, or whether you're holding it or it's on the table. This holds for any time when you're not actively engaging an enemy.
Okay, understood.
When aiming the musket, extend your arm so that it's level with your shoulder, and use your eye to look down the weapon's sights.
Like this?
Not bad. Now, try saying your lines.
This is the end of the road for you.
Good. Now turn your body a little. That way, you'll give your enemy less of a target to work with. And relax your shoulders. Here, allow me to demonstrate. This is the end of the road for you.
Huh. Excuse me, Miss Chiori. Director Farina, there's something I wish to discuss with you.
Oh? What is it?
Like this?
Yes, much better.
What do you think?
I do see your point. But are you sure you wish to do this?
I believe it would be most fitting.
Well, if you insist. All right, I understand. Miss Ayaka, Miss Chevres, could the two of you please come over here?
Huh? What's going on? Are we gonna start filming now?
Let's go see.
What is it?
I have a question for you, Miss Chevres. Would you be willing to play the role of a musketeer?
What?
To clarify, I would like to turn over my role to Miss Chevres.
But brother...
Don't worry, Ayaka. I actually view this as a good thing. I was becoming troubled trying to set aside some time to speak to the staff at the Palais Mermonia. I would like to have some conversations about the cultural exchange between our two countries, and I've heard that the bureaucratic process here can get rather complicated. Now, I will be able to focus on my work. Besides, you also know that I'm not really one for public performances.
Are you really sure?
From a director's point of view, I also felt like the relationship between the two musketeers in the original story could be improved. The older brother in the story plays the lead role with his overbearing character, but this causes his character to overshadow that of his sister, and the theme of the two supporting and relying on each other isn't conveyed very well. But if we were to change the siblings to two sisters of a similar age, then that aspect of the story might come through more clearly. Also, I've seen you instructing Ayaka. That cold and dignified personality is exactly what we need for the older musketeer.
Of course, even with all these insights, the decision should still be made by Miss Chevres.
Chevres mentioned that she really likes the story, right? Paimon bets that she'll take the role.
All right, I'll take the role.
Good. It's decided then. I'll get started on making edits to the script. We'll also need to make some immediate adjustments to the lighting, props, and costumes. Oh, I have a feeling that our adaptation will be even better than the original story.
You're doing a great favor for me, Miss Chevres. You have my gratitude.
Don't mention it. I like this character, so if anything, I should be the one thanking you.
Well, since my brother is the one who brought up the idea, I suppose there's no need to worry. Let's go, Miss Chevres. I look forward to working with you.
Please, just call me Chevres.
Seems like you're really going out of your way to solve the problem I was having with your makeup.
Surely you jest, Chiori. I assure you that I was mostly motivated by a desire to spend more time on formal business.
Oh, come on. You really think I'd buy that? According to what I've heard from Ayaka, her brother is someone who can juggle 10 different matters at the same time. I'm sure you have other reasons for backing out.
Perhaps. Ayaka always said she wanted to go out and see more of the world, just like the Traveler. But I feel that she needs not only to see other nations, but also to make some different kinds of friends. I think it would be harder for her to make new connections with me constantly by her side. I would like to give her some space.
Alright, go on. Spoil her some more.
Ayato! It's too bad you're stepping
Come
down
on.
that role. Paimon really wanted to see you act as a musketeer.
No need to poke fun at me. I'd wager that you also felt that I wasn't the best candidate for the role.
It's a little hard for Paimon to imagine you saying those lines.
Yes, I've made an appointment to meet some people from the Palais Mermonia. Now, I will have some more time to prepare.
Traveler, get the camera ready. Paimon, get the clapperboard. Actors, to your positions. We're about to start shooting the first scene.
Go on now. And please take good care of Ayaka.
Yep, don't worry.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing the film when it's finished.
All right, now that we're all here, let me help set the scene for everyone. The first scene takes place when our two main characters are still living at the Baron's estate. They've been ostracized and verbally abused by others in the household, but they still have no idea why. We want to capture how naive and innocent they are, despite their pain. Chevres will be playing the role of the older sister, Tulip, and Ayaka will be the younger sister, Iris. Be sure to get close-ups of the main characters at the right moment. Silence on the set! Lights! Camera! Action!
Let's go!
Tulip, Mother's been out for quite a while now.
Perhaps she went to pick some flowers on the way home. You know how she loves flowers.
Iris, Tulip! I'm home!
Mother! You were out for so long, we were beginning to worry about you.
I'm sorry, but I'm back now, safe and sound. Here, I brought your favorite treat, apple turnovers.
Mother, what are those bruises on your hand?
Huh? What bruises? Oh, I must have bumped into something while I was working yesterday.
But I didn't notice them this morning.
Then perhaps they're from when I accidentally tripped when I was out just now. By the way, did you have fun playing at home? What's the matter, Iris?
Well, we've realized that no one really wants to play with us.
They even took Iris's doll and spat at us.
And they even called us names. They said we were...
Shh. It's all right. Don't worry. Girls, listen to me. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Don't listen to them. No one can define you with such words. You both have wonderful lives ahead of you. Just like your names. You will both blossom like beautiful flowers. Maybe your time to blossom hasn't quite come yet, but one day, you two will bloom more beautifully than anything else. Don't let the soil you're in now ruin your future beauty. Understand? My dear daughters.
And cut! Not bad. The actors' emotions were all on point. Let's keep that take. Also, if our clapper loader could avoid shouting at the start of the scene next time...
Great. I was a little worried that my nerves would get the better of me. What about you, Chevros?
I felt fine. The lines weren't too difficult at all. Seems like Farina must have adapted the role nicely.
You two were great. I couldn't tell it was your first time acting in a film. You should have more confidence.
Thank you for your encouragement.
Positions, everyone! We'll move on to the next scene after we try a few more camera angles.
What the fuck? Oh.
This scene is when our two characters return home, only to discover their mother has been murdered. Ready? Lights! Camera! Action!
Mother, we're back! Mother? What's wrong, Tulip?
Iris, stay away!
Huh? Why? What's... Mother! Mother... She's...
Huh? There's poison in this cup.
Huh? I could have sworn I've seen this kind of cup before.
Even try to cover up their actions? Iris, we need to leave this place.
Leave? But now that Mother is gone, where can we even go?
Anywhere. All I know is that we can't stay in this house.
But... are we just going to let them get away with this?
We'll have our revenge, I promise you. Just not right now. Come on, let's go.
No, wait. This flower.
All right. Goodbye, Mother. We'll avenge you. Someday.
And cut! Beautiful! great performance!
Oh my, you're so amazing, Ayaka! And were those real tears I saw? How did you do it?
I was surprised too.
Thank you for the kind compliments. Actually, as soon as Director Farina said action, I told myself not to think about anything. I just felt the weight of the moment and became the character. It's quite similar to practicing the art of the sword. You clear your mind and focus only on what's happening in front of you.
Ayaka's performance was amazing. Have I discovered an acting prodigy? Pipe down, everyone! We need to move on to the next scene!
Huh? Are we done already? But Paimon wants to keep playing with the clapperboard. How do you feel, Traveler? Is your arm sore from holding the camera all day?
Good work, you two.
You too, Shivers. You were quite the actress today.
I've read this novel many times before. I have a good grasp of my character's mindset. Anyway, do you remember my request from yesterday?
Oh, right! We were having so much fun that Paimon nearly forgot! You have a case where the murders seem really similar to the cases in the novel, right? So,